where you want it.
Bay 12, please.
Hello there, Transformers fans, and welcome back to another Bay 12 video review. And today we are reviewing this year's feature Titan from Transformers Legacy Evolution, the Nemesis. A few years back, we got the Ark as part of the Transformers Kingdom line. That was that year's featured Titan. Last year, they took a break from that and did the Cybertron Universe Metroplex, and while that was a very cool figure, which you can check out the review we did on that, I believe, here on our YouTube channel as well, it wasn't quite as cool, I think, as Hasbro finally doing an official Nemesis Titan class figure. Now, I didn't expect her to be a totally new and original character. I love that she is. I think that's very, very cool. And she is the first official female Titan to get a figure. There have been other female Titans throughout the years of the Transformers, mostly in comic books, specifically IDW. However, this is the first female Titan produced by Hasbro, which is very cool. Now, she's just named the Nemesis, much like the Ark was just named the Ark. They don't have their own original character names as of this moment. I would love to see these characters make more appearances in media. If there was to be some kind of follow-up to the Netflix series, I would like to see the Nemesis transform into her own Titan and face off against the Ark. I think that would be very, very cool. But regardless, as cool as seeing the Nemesis in future media would be, the figure itself is very awesome. Definitely one of my favorite Titans, although there are some things I wish they had done differently. More on that when we get to the actual figure. First things first, however, we have the packaging, and here it is. Of course, it's massive because this is a Titan class figure. So there we have that packaging right there with the Nemesis just charging forward into space. You've got some Seekers flying around her. On the side over here, you get some really cool artwork of the Nemesis in her robot mode. I like that we actually got artwork of her in robot mode, not just in her ship mode, because they don't always do awesome artwork of some of these cool concept characters like this. So I'm really happy they did. On this side over here, we have the Legacy Evolution banner artwork. Up top, you just got Transformers Legacy Evolution and the Nemesis. And on the back, you've got product shots of the figure in both modes, as well as the play features of the Nemesis. And that's pretty much it for the packaging. And here she is right out of the box, fully assembled. There are a couple of pieces you do have to put on because usually Titans come a little unassembled when you get them right out of the packaging, because despite the very large boxes, they still can't be fully fitted in them, totally assembled. So there is that. However, it is still a very large and impressive ship. I'm glad that they went with the more G1 accurate paint scheme on this one. I know there were a lot of comments about the prototype that Hasbro showed off when they first revealed the Nemesis on one of their live streams. However, I think she turned out very nicely. Very cartoon accurate. You'll notice I have her standing on her thrusters because that's when we're first introduced to the Nemesis in the G1 cartoon. She launches much like this from the Decepticon base, much like when the Ark launched from the Autobot base. And this was our first introduction, just seeing her parked like this. And then, of course, when the Decepticons built a new warship in the More Than Meets the Eye 3 episode special, they built one much like the Nemesis. So, really cool seeing her like this. Now, of course, you can split the bottom fin in half and then display her just sitting like so. And she looks really awesome like that, too. I kind of prefer the other way just because I don't like the idea of having to disassemble her just to set her down. You know, it's just not as crazy to me. I mean, it looks good displayed like this, and I'm not really going to be displaying them in ship mode anyway, so it isn't really that important, but for those who have been wanting a really cool Nemesis ship and a really cool Arc ship side by side, I think it's better to just kind of have them displayed like so. And real quick for comparison, here is the Nemesis next to the Arc, sitting on their thrusters in their launch positions, because once again, this is how they launched from Cybertron the first time, much like a rocket would from Earth, thrusters down to push them up, which is very, very cool looking. And here they are side by side in their, I guess, landed position, for lack of a better term, here at the present moment. And they look pretty cool side by side. Very, very nice size to the both of them. I feel as though the Nemesis should just be a little bit bigger next to the Arc, but I'm not going to complain too much, just because the idea of having a Titan class Nemesis figure is still just so cool to me. Plus, I mean, as awesome as the Titans have been since Metroplex in 2013, they haven't been 100% to scale anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal. In Nemesis mode, she has quite a bit of cool features, guns, and just fun stuff. She has these cool little turrets. Now, the instructions in the box show you to put the bigger square cannons where the round cannons are, but you just get better clearance with the round cannons in the other spot than you do with the square cannons. Plus, having the big square cannons just looks really cool on this front deck to me. There's the bridge right here. You've got another cannon right there up top. You have two little hangar bays that open up and have little seekers in them. And of course, you also get the little seekers. And those little hangar bays are located here on the side of the ship. So we have one right here, and then we have one right here, and then you have these little ramps that pull out of the side, and there are a couple of tiny seekers. I'll zoom in on those here in a little bit. And then on this side, you've got another one with two more tiny seekers. So you get 4 of the little mini seekers in total. They plug onto these tiny, tiny little ports that just sit on the little ramps there. And you also have other places on the Nemesis where you can peg them on. For example, you can peg them right here onto the wing. These ones you can't quite, even though it's pretty much the right peg size, because they're sunken into the side of the hull a little bit, you just can't really get the seekers on them just because of the shape of the seekers. But these flatter ones that are kind of just on the side of the hull out in the open, those ones you can peg them on. It's pretty easy. But I like to keep them here in the little hangars so I don't lose them, because they're so small and very detailed. Again, we'll get to that here in a little bit. Very detailed, and I think it's just cool that they included them in the first place. I love the idea of deploying the seekers from the side of this massive warship, and it's just so cool. I love that she's got the 2 front fins right here. I love that she's got the fins coming up and down on her side wings there. I like the paint on the thrusters on the back. You've got these nice big Decepticon symbols on the central fin on the back. And just the other little details, little like window looking sections just molded into the side, looks really cool. Overall, I wish it had just a little bit more paint, maybe some yellow paint or something to look like lights shining out of the windows. But then again, it's still a pretty cool piece overall. I really dig it. It's awesome. Transformation on this vehicle, pretty cool and relatively simple. We've already gotten a good start by splitting that section there down at the bottom. The next step is, it is just something that makes it easier. You don't necessarily have to take them off, but it does just kind of help keep them out of the way. You can pop these side wings off. Now, it already comes with these wings disassembled in the packaging, and these are also weapons for the Nemesis while she's in her robot mode. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tab those little fins into the side right there. We're going to set that piece aside, pull the other one off. Just pops right off. We're going to do the same thing over here. Just kind of close those fins up, set that to the side. Now, these are interchangeable. They're the same on both sides, so don't worry about getting these pieces mixed up trying to put them back on, and they're super easy to put back on. Next up, we're going to just stand her up like so. We're going to come over here to these side panels right here. We're going to split the section right here in the middle and just kind of get these sections off to the side and out of the way. We're going to come down here to the bottom. We're going to pull this whole section and untab it from this bottom section right here, which kind of secures these bits into place. And then we're going to pull this kind of belly-like section and untab these from right here. And then we're going to grab this section right here, split that cone in two, and pull out on these shoulder sections here. As you can see, that frees this whole arm up. Do the same thing over here, just kind of wiggle it free. There we go, and then pull it out like so. Then we're going to take this section right here, we're going to rotate it off to the side just to kind of get it out of the way for the moment. Come over here to the central section right here, bring this section of the ship down and tab it into place like so. On the back, we're going to pull on this bridge section, and you can see the head is underneath that. We're going to bring that up, and then we're going to fold this in, bring that up like so, and that's going to be part of her back. Come back around to the front, and we're going to spring these pieces apart, making her chest a little bit more full. Make sure we push that neck section down, securing her head and neck into place. And then we're going to come down here to the legs. We're going to split this other fin that we had in the middle, and then we're going to split the legs totally apart. And then we're going to, on this double hinge joint on the inside, bring that knee all the way up and click it into place right there like so, extending that leg all the way. Next, we're going to bring that foot out. The back of her heel is the thrusters. Then we're going to rotate this foot forward. It's on a very loud ratchet, like so. And then we're going to rotate that thigh forward like so. And this section right here, that's the front of her shin. What's also really cool about the leg is all of this is just going to fold up in on itself. So bring that in, bring that all the way in, and then just fold it together, tab that out. You're going to have this part of the wing just flaring out to the side a little bit. That's how it's supposed to be. And that's one leg done. Do the other one just like this one. We're going to pull out and down, extending that knee joint. Rotate that leg forward. Take that foot out. Rotate that foot forward, like so. And then just fold in those sections into the back of the leg, like so. Now we're going to take this piece that we had over here to the side. We're going to finish rotating this whole section to the middle. Bring this up. Bend it right there on that joint. And then we're going to rotate this. And this little piece right here is going to slide onto that little piece right there. So just bring it up. Click it into place. And that's her back all done. And as you can see, she stands so tall that she's sticking out of frame just a little bit. And now that that's been adjusted, we can finish transforming this figure. So now we're going to come over here to the arms. We're just going to kind of adjust the shoulders a little bit without closing all the chest up. Leave these other bits kind of flared out to the side. Bring that arm down. There's these panels on the sides of the arm that open. Rotate that out, close that up, rotate that fist around, open the hand, and there's one arm done. Same thing on the other side. Come over here, make sure that's out to the side. Adjust those joints a little bit. Open up that side panel, rotate that around, rotate the hand, open that up, close that panel back up. Now all that's left to do from here is the head, so we're going to rotate that around, open up these little side bits, and pull up on these upper pieces of the crest of her Decepticon symbol face. And there you have the Nemesis in her robot mode. And she's absolutely huge. She is nice and tall. She looks awesome. I love this figure. This figure is so very cool. Now, let's get to some of the complaints I have about this figure. In her ship mode, she's pretty great. I wish she came with a stand so that you could display her properly in her ship mode, as per the whole fin folding thing that we talked about earlier. But in her robot mode, there are some things I really like about her robot mode. Overall, like the design of her chest, the way her head transforms. I like that they stuck with the factional symbol for the head, like they did with the Ark. But I don't like these little bits just kind of hanging out here to the side. Once you get her in robot mode, there's nothing you can really do with them to get them out of the way. The best place for them out of the way is to continue just sitting out to the side like this, and it looks weird and out of place. I don't like this. I really don't like this. Now, there's an easy fix for that. You can just take them off. The problem is there's nowhere to store it after that. You've just removed a piece and now you have it sitting to the side, which is fine. It makes your figure display just a little bit better, sure, but you shouldn't have to remove pieces from a Transformer figure to make it display better in either mode, in my opinion, to be a great figure. It should go somewhere or fold into something. Now, I understand there's only so much they can do with that, and there's just pieces that are going to stick out sometime. It happens. We call it kibble, but the kibble in this case is bad kibble. There's good kibble, there's bad kibble, there's filler kibble. This is bad kibble, in my opinion. But, like I said, overall, it's still a pretty awesome figure. And you can bring her arm out just a little bit more and bring this down a little. But then that just makes her shoulders just touch here in the center, and it just also looks kind of strange. So there's not really a good way to deal with this other than just taking it off and leaving it to the side somewhere. When you go to transform it, just do your best to remember where you put it so you don't forget where you left it. Same goes for these fins right here. As cool as this idea was to give her some fins that turn into weapons, and I want to say this was probably an afterthought because they were probably in the design process, and what do we do with these fins that are just kind of hanging off the front? Oh, I know, let's make them removable and turn them into blasters. Cool idea. They make cool blasters. You fold out the little handle right there. You split this fin right down the middle like so, and then fold out the blaster barrels, and yeah, it looks like a pretty cool blaster. She can hold them in her hands fairly securely, although her elbow joint isn't as strong as some of her other joints, unless you adjust it a little bit like that. And she just kind of, can't hold it straight up. So that's another one of the complaints is some joints have really great and really strong ratchet joints, some of them a little stronger than they probably should be, almost to the point to where you're worried you're going to break something because of how strong the ratchet joint is. And then there's other spots on this figure that just don't have any ratchet joints for some reason, because that's too loosey-goosey for me. I don't know about you guys, but that's really loose. I hope not everybody's Nemesis is as loose as mine is, at least in the elbow joints, because yeah, that they totally shouldn't be loose like that. That's very, very strange that you can't even get her to hold her weapon straight up without lodging something else into place to kind of help keep it there. You know what I'm saying? So awesome, still cool, but there's just some minor things that could have been done better to make this figure even greater than I feel it already is. The other thing is you can kind of fold the wings nice and neat onto her robot mode, but it just looks weird from the back. Not as weird with her wings right here, but more so with the wings right here, I feel. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Now, one of the other things you can do to store her weapons on her is you can just plug them right back onto her shin. Now, now we're dealing with these crazy long shins that are sticking way out in front of this figure, which is also kind of an eyesore. What I like to do is I like to split them like so, and then just kind of fold them over the shin, and that looks a little better. It's not great, it's not an amazing solution, but it's better than that. So yeah, she also comes with these cool little axe weapons. It's these fins that are plugged into the side of the actual nose of the ship, and yeah, they're neat. Yeah, it's a neat idea. It's a neat little, if you squint really hard, you can kind of tell that that's supposed to be a melee weapon of, some kind, but yeah, that's not for me. I think that's goofy. It just doesn't look right. This looks okay, but that doesn't look right to me. That just, I get what they were going for. I appreciate the effort, but it could have been cooler. This could have been something that maybe it combined with another thing and made another cool like blade weapon or shield or something, other than this little rinky-dink little, well, it's supposed to be like her little hatchet or something. I mean, hatchet is really the best way to describe whatever this is supposed to be, but whatever it is, it's silly, and I'm just not into it. So personally, I just like to leave them on the sides of the ship here, which is really easy to do. And for comparison, because you gotta see the two of them side by side, here she is with the Ark, and as you can see, they actually complement each other rather well in their robot modes. I like the Ark's robot mode just a little bit more. Not because I just prefer the design of the Ark over the Nemesis. I just feel like despite his hollow bits and areas, his robot mode just looks a little cleaner to me than the Nemesis. He doesn't have all these extra weird, don't accidentally knock off this piece panels, and doesn't have these weird bits just hanging off in weird spots or going off in weird directions, like the shins or whatever else. And I like that about this just a little bit more about this. Now, between the two, I probably prefer the Nemesis just because I like the Nemesis more as a ship. And having a big purple Titan that transforms into a Nemesis is just one of the coolest things ever to me as a Transformers fan. Not that having a Titan that transforms into the Ark isn't super cool as well. I mean, it's It's something that we've seen happen a couple of times, but we've also only seen a couple of characters transform into the Nemesis at this point. And I just like the concept of the Nemesis transforming a little bit more than the Arc transforming. But I definitely want to see the two interact in some future Transformers media, maybe in one of the future Transformers comics, or in a show, or something. I just want to see the two of these going at it, fighting each other in their Titan modes, and I just can't wait to see who would come out on top in that scenario. Would it be the Nemesis or the Arc? Because the Nemesis usually takes the Arc when they're in their ship modes, or at least in the media they've appeared in as spacecraft. But prior to this, they weren't really, of course, Titan Transformers. They were just ships. But now that they both have robot modes, I very much want to revisit the Nemesis versus the Arc brawl and see who would come out the victor in that scenario. Now, real quick, I did promise that we would take a closer look at the 4 teeny tiny Seekers that we got with the Nemesis. And here they are. So first thing, we have the little Tetrajet Seeker right there. He is super, super tiny, but they were able to get pretty much all of that awesome detail from the Siege Tetrajet mold onto this little fighter. We have a classic F-15 Seeker as well, and that looks really good. A lot of awesome molded detail on that. We have a Seeker that looks like Ramjet, and I say Seeker that looks like Ramjet because it could be Ramjet, could be G2 Sandstorm, could be G2 Cloud Cover, could be one of the many Seeker soldiers from the Transformers Devastation video game. And I like that they reused the Ramjet body because out of the 3 Conehead Seekers, Ramjet had my favorite jet mode. And last but not least, the 4th and final Seeker of the 4 that we get is one that resembles Thrust. And that looks really cool. Now, of course, on the artwork on the box, the Seekers represented are Skywarp as the Tetrajet, Thundercracker as the F-15, Ramjet as the Ramjet mold, and Thrust as the Thrust mold, because there hasn't really been a reuse of the Thrust design, at least to my knowledge, with the G1 jet mode of Thrust. Although I feel like based off of how Takara treated the animated universe Slipstream, I feel as though Slipstream could reuse the Thrust mold with relative ease just because of the turbines on the side of the wings. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's review featuring the new Transformers Legacy Evolution, the Nemesis Titan. Not only the first official Titan class, the Nemesis figure produced by Hasbro, but also the first official female Titan class Transformer character to be produced by Hasbro, which, 2 big deals there. 2 very awesome milestones that they scratched off in one. I love that not only did we finally get a female Titan, but it's one of the baddest ships in the Decepticon fleet. Stay tuned for more Transformers reviews, like and subscribe, follow us on social media, but also for more toy news and more toy review content, check out our other website, cooltoyreview.com, and like and subscribe to Cool Toy Review social media and the Cool Toy Review YouTube channel, link in the description down below. If you like Star Wars, check out rebelscum.com every single day and like and subscribe to rebelscum.com social media and the YouTube channel there for daily Star Wars content. And if you're looking for cool toys for your collection, well, come by our store, Order 66 Multiverse, here in the shops at Willowbend Mall. It houses both Bay 12 and Order 66 Toys, which is the nation's official all Star Wars toy store. And in case you're not local, Order 66 Toys holds a weekly Friday night live sale. They just finished celebrating their 5-year anniversary of consecutive Friday nights live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and they ship all around the world. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. Transform and roll out.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.